Hello everyone. Today, we're going to rank every movie in the history of the Thompson Friends franchise. There have been a lot of movies that we have seen in this franchise, and while some of them have not been so good, especially a lot of the recent ones, there's definitely been a lot of good movies to have. What I love about all these movies is how they're all set in a different era. None of them are confined to just one specific era, and we have a wide variety of movies from different eras. Keep in mind, this is just my opinions. You don't have to like my opinion, but regardless, I hope you enjoy the video. In last place, we have Misty Island Rescue. Misty Island Rescue was this low because of the many plot holes and plot convenience just for the story to go ahead. I'll just tell you some of them. So, first of all, Thomas gets mad at Diesel because he can't do the job because he's not a steamy, which is just racist. And now apparently Diesel has to apologize. Why? Then Thomas goes on the raft when we clearly see that he has space at the beginning of the movie. Then Thomas just happens to align perfectly with the tracks to get on the island, and then we meet the logging logos. The logging logos, what's their point? What do they do? How are they in Steam? Who operates them? Who comes all the way just to work with the logging logos? It makes no sense at all. You just question everything that they do. What is the point of them? And then Thomas just happens to go right underneath the hole to blow steam. Then we can see his smoke come from the island, and Percy sees him. So you're telling me this entire time on the island of Sodor, no one has ever seen the island once? Not once. It's like how? The definition of just plot convenience just happening for the sake of the plot. Speaking of weird things, how does Wolf know about the tunnel? He's been here for 3 seasons, and now he's suddenly a genius of Sodor? And why is the top man sending 3 of his main engines to find Thomas, when there was a search and rescue center established at the beginning of the movie? Overall, the main thing about Misty Island is that there are no stakes. You just know watching the movie that everything's gonna work out. And I know for a Thomas the Tank Engine movie, you're gonna know that everything will work out. But when the stakes feel so low that even a Thomas the Tank Engine movie feels underwhelming, that just shows you how bad this movie is. Everything just happens for the sake of the plot going forward. Nothing makes sense, nothing feels earned. Misty Island at the bottom. Next up, we have Big World, Big Adventures, or Bwubba. Now, Bwubba to me is the definition of a missed opportunity. Thomas going around the world to meet new trains seems pretty cool, but it's just honestly an hour of nothing. For starters, Thomas just leaves Sodor in the first 10 minutes on his own. Super underwhelming. It doesn't feel interesting at all. And he meets this race car named Ace, who personally, I don't like Ace at all. I don't know, some people like him, some don't. Nia's a good character in this movie though. I like Nia in this movie. But Ace to me just is not a good character. Something about him, just not interesting at all. And overall, like I said, this movie is an hour of nothing. Nothing really happens in this movie. Thomas, Ace, and Nia go around the world doing whatever they want. Doesn't feel interesting at all. No plot, really. I know there is something in this movie, I guess. There's some stuff, but overall, you don't really feel interested. And what am I watching right now? What is this? This movie overall just isn't interesting. It's really unrealistic, and I know it's a Thomas Tank Engine movie, but it's unrealistic to an extreme point where it's like, what's going on? Misty Island is just boring, nothing happens. Not a fun movie, to be honest. Next, we have Day of the Diesels. Now, Day of the Diesels does some good things. For starters, I like how we have a new protagonist in Percy. It gives us a breath of fresh air that it's not really always Thomas, and it's always nice to see a character that's not Thomas lead some stuff. Diesel's also pretty good in this. I really like how he's manipulative and decisive. It's giving Season 2 Diesel vibes, and I love that. Diesel 10 is also in this, and while he's not like his Magic Railroad self, I really do like how he's sort of in the background, kind of like Dr. Claw. It could just be that they both have claws, but I like how they're in the background making decisions. We have 2 new characters in Flynn, who's alright, and Belle, and that's actually the reason that stems from the plot. Percy is jealous that Thomas is with new friends, so that's why he goes to the Diesel Works. Now that's my first kind of problem. It's not really a big enough motive. Percy goes to the Diesel Works, why? Because he feels jealous? That's all not so interesting. And the rest of the movie just Percy going back and forth to Diesel Works and to Steamies. And that's just boring, to be honest. Nothing happens. It's just Percy going back and forth. That's all. and Diesel are just using him so they can eventually take over the Steamworks. But this is the question I have. What's the grand plan? It's really weird, like they just want to have a nice little playground at the Steamworks. That's their ultimate plan. And it doesn't even matter because 15 seconds later, Sir Tom Matt comes and shuts the whole thing down. And then in the end, they have a 2-minute montage of the Steamies and Diesels working together to make a new Diesel works. Overall, it just feels like this movie just leads up to nothing. I mean, it's pretty boring, and it doesn't really make sense. I mean, Percy's an idiot, first of all, in this movie. He's dumb. And Diesel 10, I mean, he just gets told by Sir Tom Hat, and then all the Steamies and Diesel are friends. It doesn't feel like, they're doing it themselves. It feels like they're getting forced. Next up, we have Thomas the Magic Railroad. Now, this movie is probably the most controversial. You either love it or hate it. Now, from this video, you can see that it's a bit low, but I'm going to say some positive things about this movie. For starters, Alec Baldwin as Mr. Conductor is really good. I love his acting, and he's clearly a highlight in this film. Another thing that's really good is Diesel 10. He is easily the best villain that this franchise has ever produced, and he is absolutely outstanding. This movie also has a really good score, and I really love how the model crew and the film crew really let us have that Sodor feel. It really feels like you're on Sodor, and it does a great job encapsulating what Sodor really is. It feels magical, really. But that's about it for the positives in this movie. But the main thing that this movie doesn't really do well is that there are too many plots. I mean, first you got the lady part where Burnett Stone is trying to restore Lady. And Burnett Stone, I just think he's kind of dull. He just seems so sad all the time. His acting isn't that interesting. Then we have the little girl, Millie, who is coming to Shinetime Station. Then we have Diesel 10's plot and how he's trying to take over Sodor. Then we got Mr. Conductor's part where he's trying to find his gold dust. It just feels like there's too many parts. And the main thing is that we don't see enough Thomas and friends. They're the trains. That's why we came to see the movie. Thomas is barely in his movie. I mean, the human parts are okay, don't get me wrong. They're not bad. But we mainly came here to see the trains. And I think the biggest thing that this film suffers from is that the magic part. It's too unrealistic. It's not grounded. It doesn't feel like Sodor. Up to this point, Thomas has always felt like a realistic show. A place where you can visit a real world. That's what gave it its charm. It was a nice, grounded show. But now, when you have all this magic stuff, it just doesn't feel like Thomas. And to be honest, the show was never really meant for this magic stuff, and the movie was never going to succeed like this. That just isn't Thomas. Magic Railroad isn't bad. I mean, I think it's controversial. I think it's okay. I don't think it's the best movie. I think it's alright. But it just isn't Thomas at the end of the day. I mean, Diesel 10 is great. But other than that, Magic Railroad, it's okay. Not that good of a movie in my opinion. Now, next up is Journey Beyond Sodor. And a lot of people like this movie, but I personally do not. But I can see why. The thought of it is cool. Thomas goes to the mainland, meets some new interesting trains, and even gets held hostage. I mean, that seems like an amazing movie for a Thomas and Friends movie. But I just feel like this movie just fails in execution. I mean, Thomas going to the mainland is cool, don't get me wrong, but for starters, I mean, take a look at the mainland. It looks very, very bland. Animation clearly took a downgrade ever since ARC went bankrupt. I mean, look at that. 2 houses, that's it. That's not interesting at all. This is also the movie where we start to see the engines bouncing and gesturing. And personally, it has not grown on me. I don't like the engines bouncing. There's a lot of gimmicks in this movie. I mean, you look at the final scene, the intense final battle scene, basically. And look, I mean, it just looks so gimmicky. And there's a lot of moments in this movie where everything, I don't know, it just feels gimmicky. It doesn't really feel real. And I know it's a Thomas and Friends movie. I know it's not supposed to be realistic. But I mean, come on, this is a bit too much for a Thomas and Friends movie. I do like Jane's and Thomas's dynamic. I think that's pretty cool. The new characters are also not so bad. I think they're interesting. I think they're alright. And overall, I think the characters in general are not really bad. The villains are also pretty cool too. I don't think they're bad. I know people hate them, but I think the main reason why people don't like them is the end. I mean, they literally tried to kidnap Thomas, and then they just get a sorry apology. She just starts crying and everyone was just friends again. I don't know. It just feels like, come on. I mean, they literally tried to kidnap you. What kind of apology is this? And now everyone just friends and happy again. Like I said, I really do like James and Thomas' dynamic. I think it's really cool to see them together. And I like how James comes and tries to save Thomas. I think that's really cool of him. And in the end, I think it's nice. I mean, other than that, though, I just don't really like this movie. I feel like it's gimmicky. I feel like it's a wasted opportunity. I feel like it's a bit silly, and I know it's a Thompson Friends movie. I know. But still, I just feel like it could have been done better. I think it's just a disappointment. High expectations, but low execution. The Great Race is honestly, like a lot of these movies, a good concept, but fails to execute well. I mean, the idea of having a race and a competition with all engines around the world seems amazing, and it did seem pretty cool when we got it. It's just that it was only for about like 5 minutes. The entire movie is basically just seeing if Thomas is worth enough to go compete in the race, and it's kind of boring. I mean, we want to see that race, so I mean, Thomas's part is kind of just like, all right, let's get to the main part. And that's just what this movie is basically about. Seeing if Thomas is ready to go to the race. That's it. It's The songs, though, I gotta say, are amazing. Easily the best songs in any movie in Thomas. Amazing songs. I mean, super catchy. And the Flying Scotsman, amazing. I mean, I always love seeing real life characters in the show. I love his and Gordon's dynamic, and I absolutely love the Flying Scotsman. 10 out of 10 character for sure. But in the end, when the actual event is just 5 minutes, and that's what this whole movie is hyped up to be, it's not a good movie. I wanted to see the race, but instead we just got Thomas's trying to see if we could go to the race. Next up is Calling All Engines. Now, Calling All Engines is a bit nostalgic for me, as I used to watch this a lot as a kid on my DVD player. But I'm gonna be honest, this movie is not that good, mainly because it has a lot of pointless dialogue, especially the learning segments, that drag this out to be a lot longer than it has to be. Look, I really do love the storm. I think it was awesome seeing the solar suspension bridge collapse. It was absolutely amazing, probably the best moment of the movie. And seeing the fight with the engines was also cool. It's always nice to see crashes with model work. Something about model is just amazing, more better than CGI for sure when it comes to the crashes. It was probably the next best thing, right after, of course, the solar suspension bridge breaking. Another thing I liked is how the engines all came together and decided that they needed to put a stop to the steam and diesel rivalry. They came to their own terms and decided to do it on their own. It wasn't like they, the diesels, which the top man just came and told everyone to be good. No, they actually decided to take things in their own hands, and it was pretty good. I liked it. Diesel 10 is also here, and again, I kind of like how he's portrayed, not complaining. And overall, I think the problem with this movie is just that the pointless dialogue, the annoying learning segments, that really just drag this movie out and make it a lot more boring than it should be. It's an alright film, but it would have been higher if it weren't for the learning segments and pointless dialogues. It's an okay movie. Finally, a good movie to talk about. I think King of the Railway is the first good movie we have on this list. It's an interesting film. I really like how we have a new castle that we can talk about and really expand on the island of Sodor. The new characters aren't that bad. I think they're pretty interesting. I think Millie, Caitlin, and Connor are all really good. And of course, Steven is the highlight of this. I think it's so cool how, again, we get a new real life character. Also, I think the new background that we have of Sodor is also really interesting to see. Again, it's always nice seeing the Sodor lore expanded. I think that's really good. But there is a problem. I think some of the dialogue can drag out. I think the movie does drag out quite a bit. I know obviously it is the first season or movie where we get to see, the new team writing. I think there's definitely some work to do. I think it could have cut out, the runtime a bit. It did drag on a bit. But overall, it's not a bad film. It's a nice, interesting film. And it's a good start to the Brenner era, in my opinion. It's not a bad film. Could be cut a bit short. But overall, a good film. Now, Hero of the Rails is the first movie that was made in CGI. I think this movie is super good because it gives us a lot of new stuff. I think Spencer as a villain is amazing. I think having a steam engine as a villain is really awesome to see. And now with CGI, we get some really intense scenes like the hero chase scene from Spencer or the Thomas and Spencer intense chase scene. I think with CGI, it gives us something that we really haven't seen previously, and I think it's really awesome to see. It's something nice and new. The animation is also really good in this movie. Some shots that we get are amazing. There obviously are some sort of problems, but it's a lot of nitpicky stuff, to be fair. For example, when the Spencer and Thomas chasing is happening, why is Spencer struggling? He's like almost 3 times faster than Thomas, so it's a bit like, why? And also the hero backstory is really cool, but we all know that Edward was the first engine on Sodor. So seeing that backstory is kind of like, it's not true. But other than that, those are just nitpicky stuff. I think the intro is really cool. It's nice to see that. And I really do like Hero as a character. I also really like Spencer as a villain. I think he's an absolutely amazing villain. And it's nice to see Steve mentioned as a villain. Overall, Hero of the Rails is a really good movie. I think with just some other nitpicky stuff, it's really good. I think it's a really good sign of the CGI era. I think a lot of people don't like it because, what came after this was sort of, not the best, but who cares about the future? Hero of the Rails is awesome. Now, The Great Discovery is the final movie in the models, and I really do like it. A lot of old faces return, which I like to see, and Thomas is a good main character. You really do feel for him. He feels alone, and you want to sympathize with him, and you really root for the character in this movie. The model crew and the crashes were amazing. Some of the crashes in this movie are absolutely spectacular, and a lot of the model work was amazing, especially Thomas jumping out of the mountain. Absolute cinema. Overall, there's not much to say about this movie. It's a good movie. I like it. I like the characters. It's a good storyline. Stanley is an alright character, I guess. I mean, his only character personality is that he's better than Thomas. That's about it. Overall, it's a good farewell to the model era. Right from the get-go, you could tell that Tale of the Brave was going to be a good movie. The intro already makes you fall in love with this movie. And Percy as a main character in this movie is really good. He makes you feel for the guy. You want to root for Percy. He feels betrayed by Thomas. It's not like, Day the Diesels, where Percy is just jealous of Thomas because he has new friends. You have a good reason to support him in this movie. The new characters like Gator, who I think is really good. Timothy's alright. Nothing special, but he's not bad. Some of the intense scenes in this movie are absolutely spectacular. For example, that final chase scene, amazing. Absolutely wonderful. And the scene where Cranky tries to stop the boat really makes you into the scene, and wow, such a special scene. The one thing is James. James is just so mean in this movie. I mean, I know he's supposed to be mean, but wow, just really, really mean. Overall though, this movie is great. I love the movie, and it's one of my favorite movies in the show. Blue Mountain Mystery. Talk about a 10 out of 10 movie. This movie has it all. I mean, for starters, I like how it's really different. For example, this new character Luke is scared and he's in hiding because he literally thinks that he killed someone. Yeah, I know, for a Thomas movie, that's pretty dark. He thinks he literally killed someone. So now in the movie, he's hiding because he's scared that, he's gonna be going to scrap. So now the rest of the movie, we're trying to find out with Thomas who Luke is and why he's so scared. And then we find out that Victor is the engine who he knocked over. And Victor couldn't say anything because he was from a different country and he couldn't speak English. I think it's super cool how we get something new about a character like Victor who we only really got stuff about just a couple years ago. This movie is good because I like how different it is in its plot. It's a really interesting movie that keeps you on your toes. Thomas is a good character, and I really love how we get to see the narrow gauge engine star in a movie. I think Blue Mountain Mystery is a 10 out of 10 movie with a 10 out of 10 plot, and a really good Thomas film. Man, The Adventure Begins. I was really thinking of putting this at number 1, but it just came short. I really like it because it gives us an origin story of a lot of characters like James and Thomas. I really do like this movie a lot, mainly because we've seen stuff from it from the Railway series and season 1, which is why a lot of fans like it. It's a nostalgic masterpiece that really hits the heartstrings of old fans. Like I said, since we've seen a lot of this from the likes of season 1, you know it's going to be good because season 1 is good. Basically, it's just a classic Railway series book. Thomas goes through different events where he messes up only to prove himself at the end and eventually earn himself a branch line. It's a classic story, and it's really a nostalgic masterpiece that hits old fans in the heart. It's a nice little film. The one bad thing I don't like about it is, Henry. Henry's sort of made out to be a wimp. He wasn't like this in the classic series or the Railway series. Regardless, Adventure Begins is a really good movie, and it's a classic. 10 out of 10. And at first place, we have Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure. This movie does so many things that I like. From the Arlesdale engines being in here, to the old faces returning, to the new branch line that's being constructed, to the pack introduced. I absolutely love this movie. It does so many things right. The animation is also amazing in this movie, and of course, Sailor John as a villain is absolutely amazing. The lengths that he's willing to take just to get what he wants are spectacular. The best character in this movie for me. And you feel for Thomas as well in this movie. You really sympathize with him. I mean, he was basically replaced by Ryan, who is not a bad character. I think he's pretty good. But you feel for Thomas. You know, he's having like a zero to hero moment basically where he feels replaced to go ahead and save the day. Truly an amazing story. Again, Solar Legend Lost Treasure does so many good things, from the characters, you know, the storyline, to the new branch line, to the animation. Just such a good film all around. I would definitely show this movie to someone who's just new to Thomas. An amazing film.